2 all-time NBA campaigns, and only one will win the MVP. The MVP voters have a big problem this year because they're choosing between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is leading his team to the most wins of any team in a decade, while putting up prime MJ numbers, and Nikola Jokic, who is having a career year. He has already won 3 MVPs, but this season, he has arguably been the most impactful player anyone has ever seen. This is the closest MVP race we have ever seen, and we are going to pick one in this video. But before we do, we have to break down every aspect of the MVP award, and we're going to start off with the face value of stats and play in general.
2 years in a row, Shai and Jokic once again. Well, Jokic is like every year now. He's in the finalist conversation, like what LeBron did in the 2010s, essentially. But yeah, no, Shai, this is his second year in a row, looking to be the first Canadian since Steve Nash to win it, right? And obviously, you could tell by my shirt what I'm wearing. It is a Shai shirt, and we are Canadian. For those of you guys don't know by now, Shai's leading the lead in scoring. There's obviously more to that, right? If that was the case, Bradley Beal should have won MVP on a bad Wizards team a couple of years ago, right? So, but what he has done while his percentages are, right? Do you have the stats, or do you want me to pull it up?
Shai.
I have it up.
I don't.
Okay, so Shai right now has 32.7 points per game. Really good. His shooting is 51.9% from the field and 37.5 from 3, which is, average, not like, especially in the 3-point thing. But he's not known as a 3-point shooter, right? And free throw line, which we'll discuss something about later as well, 89.8%. Effective field goal percentage is 56.9. Win share 16.7. PER 30.7. Thing with like Shai and Jokic are in relatively similar situations in the last couple of years, in a sense that they don't have a superstar secondary piece, right? The thing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is this OKC team is young, and the way he has emerged, and obviously this is not a historical thing, right? Because if that was the better story is obviously Jokic, Taco Bell commercial and all that stuff, right? But if you're looking at this season specifically, like you said, off the bat, like this guy starts games, obviously starts the second half, and has his team in leads always. The guy has Shai could play defense as well. Guy could hit clutch shot after clutch shot. The guy can hit a big, the mid-range game for him is butter, 51.9%. A lot of that is not just hitting to the rack.
His step back's nasty. His mid-range step back is absolutely nasty. Shai's leading the league in points, and this is where I'm going to bring in Jokic. Jokic is averaging a triple-double.
One thing with Shai, is he also has 0.4 assists a game as well.
But Jokic has more.
Well, unfortunately. I know that, but I'm just saying.
The thing with Nikola Jokic is he's averaging a triple-double. He is the point guard while being the center of the Denver Nuggets. He's averaging 29.8, 10.2 assists, and 12.8 rebounds per game. He ranks top 3 in each category in the league, essentially. He's top 3 in points, he's top 3 in assists, and he's top 3 in rebounds. He's number 2 in assists and rebounds at the moment. Nikola Jokic has also put up 2 of the greatest stat lines in a game this year. A 60-point triple-double, which has only been done 3 times now, and the first ever 30-20-20 game, which is absolutely unheard of, right? Nikola Jokic impact on his Nuggets team has been so immense because he is literally, like, for a guy that looks so unfit, he's playing heavy minutes.
Yeah.
Like heavy minutes.
Durable.
And he has been durable. For example, he has played, I believe, 50 minutes in that double overtime game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played the whole entire second half and obviously both overtime periods as well.
Yeah, I know, like, it's one of those weird situations, and I know we're gonna get into that discussion later. Is like Jokic's team this year isn't as good as it was the years in advance. Whereas if you look at Shai's team, Shai went off the floor, still has a positive plus-minus rating. I get that. Jokic just hinders when he's off the court.
Yeah, we're going to get into detail with that a little bit. But the point we're trying to make here is the decision, based on what we've seen under the stats and play, is we've seen the best scorer in the league, who's the best player on the best team, versus a guy who has just been so impactful that his team just looks so useless without him. And they're both team success. Right now, I know the Nuggets, obviously the Thunder top everyone, but the Nuggets at the end of the day can still clinch a top 6 spot in the Western Conference, and the Western Conference we already know is like a gauntlet in terms of who's gonna make the playoffs. Even with like 2 games left, we still don't know who's gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, we are recording this with like 2 to 3 games remaining. For all we know, what's gonna hurt Jokic is if they finally won their game. First game in 4 games after also the first game after firing the Nuggets fired Michael Malone and Calvin Booth. If they end up finishing the play-in, we all know who wins the MVP, right? Because at the end of the day, voters are gonna look at the standings as well. Like, yes, what Jokic has been doing on face value is absolutely amazing, but is it leading to wins? Totally leading to wins, right?
Well, it kind of has.
I mean, it has. But in terms of like this is not even me debating both. Like for me, either or could win MVP, and obviously we're gonna make our own decision at the end of this video. But what I'm saying is, Shai is like 15 games clear, right?
No, the team's nuts.
Yeah.
Right? And he's been a big part.
Like his team is 15 games.
That's what you're choosing between right now.
Exactly, right? So like his impact is leading to domination. Jokic's impact is leading to the Nuggets just being good when he's on the court.
But yeah, like that is true. But before we move on, we'd appreciate if you guys smash that subscribe button. We're gonna make videos. We make videos like this consistently, multiple times a week, regarding the NHL, NBA, and the NFL.
Playoffs are starting soon.
Yeah, playoffs are starting soon.
Make sure you guys tune in, hit that notification.
Make sure you guys subscribe, hit this like button if you're enjoying this video, and we're gonna move into the thing that you've been alluding to right now, the impact.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you guys the numbers, a deep dive. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller because he's the one who got these numbers. But it's for me, it's a significant, I guess, it's a significant thing in terms of like how good that these guys have been, right? Like you said before, Shai helps Thunder be contenders. Jokic helps the Nuggets be a great team, a good team. But the Thunder net rating is 12.5. It's the best in the league. That's in general as a team. With Shai on, it's at 18.3. So it went from the best in the league to even better. Hence why Shai makes a good team, a great team, honestly, to be like, top level contenders, which is why they have, they're not going to get 70 wins, but they were almost going to have like one of the best seasons since the 73-9 Warriors. With Shai off, it goes all the way down to 5.8, which is still not bad. It's good. But when you look at the other side, right, that's hence why the Thunder are positive. Shai takes a positive team to even better. When you look at the Nuggets, their rating in general is 4.4. With Joker on, it's at 10.6. But with Joker off, negative 8.2. So here's these stats, the difference. When you look at the swing from each player being off and each player being on, Shai's swing is plus 12.5. Jokic is plus 18.8. Each of the stats I mentioned, except for the first one with Nuggets net rating, all are like in terms of with Shai on and with Jokic on, they're top 2 in terms of net rating. And obviously the swing, Jokic and Shai are top 2, with Jokic having a swing of 18.8 for dragging a negative team to the positive, and Shai dragging a good team to being contenders. So when you're looking at this, and the main takeaway I had was on the court, Shai's impact is unmatched. But then you got to look at the other way, where like off the court, this Denver team is absolutely useless.
Okay, so as much as I agree with that case that's a big case for Jokic being MVP, but you could say that
it's both ways.
Right?
It's genuinely both ways.
You could say that about,
I'm not bringing this up just because of Jokic's case. It actually helped Shai's case as well.
But what I'm saying is, you can say that about a lot of teams' good players. Like for example, number 3 on MVP race, unfortunately, won't be close to these guys as Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know. And obviously, I don't think
it's not as big as Jokic.
Okay, but I'm saying it's still it's got to be negative when he's off the court.
Yeah, no, but like not as bad as Jokic.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just saying it's got to be negative.
There's a reason why Giannis is not in the conversation.
Yeah. But my point is though, like if
it's not any team. This is legit the biggest impact a player has made on any NBA team in any season.
And I'm not denying anything.
Yeah, so don't compare it to who's number 3 in MVP because
no, I'm not comparing that. I'm comparing that you could say when their best players off the court, it's gonna look like that way. Yes, and Jokic
it doesn't look like this.
I'm not arguing with you though. That's the problem.
But like
my point is,
it's not
you can use that argument for almost anyone. It just happens to be that Jokic has been mega. insane.
That's the thing. That's why it's not an argument. You can't have the argument with any, because of a season like this. You can't have an argument for Giannis doing this, or even Shai's case, because this is unseen, like genuinely unseen, unless some stuff happened before I started watching basketball. Like, this is unseen. There is no argument for number 2, number 3, or number 4, because they're not at the same level of what this guy's doing right now, right? So yes, whatever, every team's gonna be a little bit worse off when your superstar main player's off. But no team goes from being a top 6 team in the Western Conference to essentially being missing a play-in spot in the NBA in general. That's the difference. No player has made that much of an impact on a team than Nikola Jokic. That's what this shows, right? There is no conversation. The thing that obviously if the superstar player is off, the team's gonna be worse. Not this worse. And no one makes it that much better either. 18.8 rating better. No one makes that difference other than Nikola Jokic. There's no argument about him. Well, just because the superstar is off, they're worse. And because it genuinely, this guy is single-handedly doing this by himself. That's what it is.
Like I said, not disagreeing with that take at all. I was just trying to say
there's
obviously you've done more of the number research here, so that's why I'm letting you speak on that a little bit more. My point, I just wanted to bring up the point, okay, superstar player goes down.
I know, but that's not a point, because he just absolutely demolishes that.
But going back,
any other player.
Going back to the situation though, you're right. Listen, he's the best player in basketball, in my opinion. Before anyone just makes it sound like my tone that I'm hating on Jokic, I am not hating on Jokic. He is the best player on basketball, hands down, in my opinion, right? So yeah, you're right. With the numbers showing that the impact what he has done it's crazy, which is why he's in the MVP conversation. Flip side, I'm gonna go to the Shai's thing now, where you said he goes from it's still a positive rating, and then he makes some even extra level contender. When you show those two specific stats, then the answer should be easily Nikola Jokic, right? It should be easy if you're just giving those two specific stats. Thing that I'm gonna helps Shai is though, yes, he has the better team around him. He has the better team built around him currently than Jokic has, right? It doesn't help that Jamal Murray has been injured. Shai also did this without Chet Holmgren, who's supposed to be the second best player at the beginning of the year as well. The guy carried an offensive load as well. He starts off game hot. It's he did so well that the team has a big enough lead that when he goes off the court, the wins will obviously help as well, right? Yes, still net positive rating. Guys like Lou Dort could arguably be in all NBA defensive team discussion this year, right? At least second team, first team, however that goes out. That's what Shai does. What he has done is how much are they ahead of the Cavs at the moment? They are ahead.
It's 5 games.
But so 5 games in terms of the NBA. But if you're looking at the overall, the Western Conference, 15 games, right? And no one has come close to him in that team at all. And then on top of that, his defensive impact is there as well. The guy is a 6'6" guard. He's big. He gets deflections. He could guard one-on-one when he needs to be as well. So he does it on both sides of the court, which I'm not saying Jokic is not a bad defender, but he's not a great defender as well.
Yeah, that is true. Shai has done it on defensively. At the end of the day, Shai is the offense for OKC as well. So it's not like Shai's impact is next to nothing, right? He has a second most with plus 12.8. That's still nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, absolutely insane. And him on the court is a big factor. So obviously their play, nuts. Almost even. Stats, probably edge Jokic a little bit. But just because he has a triple-double, but then obviously you have Shai leading scoring, which is, again, makes it even almost.
Yeah.
Hard to pick. But stats will probably go to Jokic in this case. Impact. I have more of an even draw in impact.
It's
I know
even.
It's because the difference is obviously one makes a team better, but one legit helps a team from falling off a cliff. So in terms of that, because when Shai's on, the Thunder are by far the best team in basketball. So that's obviously a big factor. But impact-wise, I would call it even. Team success, obviously that goes to Shai and the OKC Thunder. So they have all those aspects, but there's one aspect that is missing, And that aspect is the narrative of the MVP.
So I'm gonna start off with the first narrative, which is on Shai, mainly on Shai. That is the foul baiting the free throw line. What's that narrative to you like, right? Because like obviously like it's a thing in the NBA. Some people get hated on it more. Some people get hated on it less. Some people like they complain about their guy not getting foul calls or their team not getting foul calls. So in this case, yeah, Shai is one of those players in the NBA now that's considered to be a James Harden type, especially when he was at the Houston Rockets, getting to the line. Joel Embiid, Jalen Brunson, Austin Reeves, and I'm saying that as a Laker fan. I've seen Austin Reeves get his ability to get to the line. How do you view that in terms of in this case? Because like there's some people that absolutely love it. Not love it, absolutely hate it. That like, okay, he's just getting his points at the line, for example, right? And then whereas is it good on Shai that he can, somewhat manipulate the refs or somehow like get to his ability to get to the line is insane.
Here's the thing where I saw about Shai. I don't think he has the most free throw attempts in the league, right, per game, in terms of amongst all like superstar level players. He is up there.
He was number one at some point. I don't know if he still is.
Here's the bigger one. I'm gonna take away that this season. I'm gonna look at other players' MVP years, and Kobe Bryant's MVP year had more foul attempts, free throw attempts than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There are multiple other MVPs. Obviously, Kobe Bryant comes in on top of my head quickly because that's our favorite player ever.
Yeah.
So obviously that LeBron, one of his MVP years, maybe a couple at least had more free throw attempts than Shai's does this year. So and obviously James Harden being another big one, right? At the end of the day, it is James Harden. So when you're looking at it, comparing it to like the NBA, like in terms of history and the winners of MVPs, these players are always like had more free throw attempts than a guy we're saying that is a foul baiter. Yeah. So what does that make them? That's a big concern there. Like, and then I'm like, that doesn't make LeBron and Kobe a foul baiter.
Yeah.
Like that's not their play. They're just freaking sick. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not a big name, right? At the end of the day, in terms of NBA wise, obviously he's making a name for himself, but he's no LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, right? I think sometimes people blow it out of proportion because it's kind of hard to accept that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a superstar, right? He is a face of an NBA. He's a face of an NBA franchise. I feel like people might blow it out of proportion because it's hard to believe that what he's doing is actually. They're trying to nitpick something that he's not doing right.
There's people that like, for example, is he the best point guard in the NBA? I might still give that edge to Luka a little bit when overall Steph has a case as well.
Yeah.
So there's like obviously people are saying like, oh well, my guy doesn't get the calls, blah blah blah. He gets to the line. I get the frustration. Like nobody, like if you work at the NBA product, I know you were frustrated with how like foul calls get given easily at times, especially to certain players. I see that. Right, like, but at the end of the day, like these guys' ability to get the line is crazy. The only reason why we get frustrated with Joel Embiid is because he's a 7-foot guy, big, and then the way he falls down is what
he falls down like he's a stick.
Exactly,
that's
right?
different.
So like, I gotta somewhat give credit to that. I'm like, yes, like I'm not trying to be biased because like Shai is one of my favorite players. He's a Canadian and all that. That's not the reason why. Because I did get frustrated when James Harden used to do this. With the Rockets, especially the 3-point line, right? But at some point, you gotta tip the cap to these guys because these guys have the ability to get to the line. And you take your points that way as well.
So that's the biggest knock on Shai in terms of storyline. And I'm gonna bring one up for Jokic.
Yeah.
And the biggest one, voter fatigue.
And this one's actual legit.
Voter fatigue is legit. Because I would assume Michael Jordan has way more MVPs than he already has. I would assume Kobe Bryant would have gotten way more MVPs than one. LeBron James should have gotten way more MVPs. Steph Curry could have gotten more MVPs. Giannis could have gotten more MVPs. Nikola Jokic does deserve more MVPs as well.
Here's the thing, right? Like, voter fatigue is a thing, but in today's NBA, like next year, don't get me like, there will be a lot more players in the mix.
Yeah.
Year after year. And Wemby will be back assuming he comes back healthy from the blood clots. You got a guy like Luka who's gonna come back healthy for the year. Giannis might have a say now, and also
Jokic and Shai is gonna
and they'll never be away from the discussion.
Voter fatigue is not just an NBA thing; it's just an overall thing.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the NHL, Connor McDavid could win the Hart Trophy every year. if you're looking at the NFL MVP, there was a big case that Lamar Jackson should have won MVP this year.
Yeah.
Over Josh Allen, right?
And this is that debate is literally what this debate is right now.
Yeah. In terms of voter fatigue.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I won't say you're wrong if you argue that Lamar Jackson voter fatigue cost him the MVP and he deserved it more than Josh Allen. Our pick was also Josh Allen. It's kind of similar thing here.
Yeah. But
you're looking at a new guy and a new face in Shai, who's kind of overtaking a guy who at the end of the day has been an MVP 3 times, but this year is having career highs.
Like, in my opinion, in a perfect world, last year, my MVP was Shai. I know yours was Luka, right? And Jokic ended up winning it, which I didn't disagree with really at all. This year, like, this is not my prediction, but I'm saying, like, in a perfect world, it would have been Shai. For me, it would have been Shai last year. This year, more Jokic for sure, right? So it's going back to that same discussion of voter fatigue. Is that fair?
No.
Yeah, no, but I could see.
But it's legit.
I see why it happens, and the reason is you're trying to give honor to the other greats in the NBA. That at the end of the day, in a situation, like you said, Connor McDavid should be a Hart winner every year. Michael Jordan should have dominated every year he's played basketball in Chicago, right? I'm not gonna count Washington. LeBron in the whole 2010 decade could have won it himself, right? It's like, I don't hate it in a sense that, like, okay, I'm not saying, you got 3, you don't deserve anymore. That's not my argument. But it gives light to a guy like Shai this year. It gives light to a guy in the future. Maybe now Luka Doncic, for example, has a chance of winning it.
Here's my take on voter fatigue quickly. It's not fair. It generally isn't.
It isn't.
But it's legit. And it's what everyone, in terms of past, present, and what future superstar, megastar players are going to have to deal with. And obviously right now, is looking like is being dealt with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, like, if I were to predict, this is not my prediction. If I were to predict the voter and the NBA awards prediction, I think it will end up going to Shai. But speaking of which, it's that time.
What is your pick?
What is our pick? And my pick, as much as I would love for him to get it and win another one, I am going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Dude has been insane throughout the whole year. Both offensively, really good defensively. His team record, because of him, is a big gap, right? And the guy's a leading scorer, good leader. I think it's fine. He needs to win one, and this is the year for him to win one, because it will be tough going forward. And is voter fatigue in my argument? Sure, I guess I'll say a little bit of it. A little bit of it is, but because that Shai took the number 1 seed. And he was the main catalyst, the main leader of it, and he's never looked back. He's my MVP.
I'm going to say this quickly before I make my pick. We're essentially picking between MVP LeBron and MVP Curry / MVP Harden, right? That's how difficult this pick is. And at the end of the day, you did pick Shai. But if Jokic does win, no one's going to be upset.
No.
From the Shai side.
Hell no.
And it goes vice versa as well.
I was more upset last year than I would be this year.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
But I have been leaning Shai the whole way. But I have switched up to Nikola Jokic. He's averaging a triple-double, and this triple-double averaging is better than Westbrook's MVP year. That's number 1. Number 2.
Well, one thing. The Westbrook triple-double pretty much cost a lot of these guys winning MVPs, because people think it's a norm now in the NBA for getting triple doubles. Westbrook, if that was the case, Westbrook should have won more MVPs than he did.
That is true. But it is better than and more impactful than Westbrook's triple double year. Again, he's dragging a team by playing heavy minutes and being healthy out of a team like that's an F tier team to an A tier team, essentially, right now. That's what Nikola Jokic is doing. And number 3, if he's won MVP 3 times already, and this is the best Nikola Jokic we have seen, why isn't this his MVP year then?
Yeah.
Right? So, again, I agree with you. In terms of last year, I didn't think it was Jokic. I had Luka, but I also had Shai. I had Jokic number 3. But this year, it's very hard to pick against Nikola Jokic,
similar,
in my opinion.
Where Embiid and Jokic flip-flopped.
Yeah, is it kind of like that?
Great question for you.
Right now, I have Nikola Jokic.
Question for you. Nuggets finish in the play-in. Does that change your mind?
No, because at the end of the day, if Nikola Jokic wasn't there, this team would have been 15th place in the West. 14th. Jazz were pretty ass.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't. It generally doesn't, because at the end of the day, like we said in the NBA playoff run video, 3 to 8 is literally, well, now 4 to 8 is literally separated by one game.
because play-in doesn't count.
Like at the end
The
of the day,
play-in game does not count in MVP conversation, right?
no, it doesn't.
So like, okay, so that's fine. Because like, I'm gonna say like, what if he doesn't get in the playoffs? Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, that doesn't. Yeah, NBA play-in doesn't count for anything, not even playoff stats in general. So, like, if the Denver Nuggets were in the East, obviously they were clearly in. So I'm not gonna look at that too much, because at the end of the day, this team has, as much as drama there has been, this team has been pretty successful in terms of not probably reaching their standards, but in terms of making to a postseason. And hopefully it's not playing, but we'll see.
Like, I'm giving it to Shai. I'm not totally convinced myself, but I am just leaning towards Shai because it's like that,
It's sort of
his impact on the team overall with how dominant. If it was a closer race, it probably would have been Jokic. If Jokic was clearly a second seed, it probably would have been Jokic for me.
Yeah.
But what like Shai and that Thunder team have done, led by Shai, and that gap in the West and the just utter domination, that it had to be
it's
Shai.
a very close
Very
call.
close race. But comment down below what you guys think.
I'm still so confused. I still regret everything, but at the same time, I don't. But yeah, like you said, comment down below what you guys think. If this is one, the closest MVP race we have seen in a long time, / greatest MVP race we have seen. And number 2, who is your MVP? And we would appreciate if you guys like to hear that. And like we mentioned before, the OKC Thunder are a heavy contender this year, and we'll go more in depth to that if you go click the video to my right, which is our NBA pretenders or contenders videos. So we'll catch you guys over there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.